FHG, when we first set out with FHG, and Dad, when we were talking about him getting it going, one of the first things that he
33,000
wanted to do with FHG was find a way to give back, because of what FHG is. Because Dad's got a men's ministry, he's a pastor at a local church, and so his eventual goal is to not even really do this much, but he needed to find a way for FHG to kind of show the same values that we show as people, probably. So 5% of every dollar that we make immediately goes to charities, donations, it's different stuff every month, and our goal this year is
give away at least 33,000.
33,000. So when he and I set out our selling
What's the organization for October?
I don't know if we have one picked. It's usually at the end of the month.
Yeah, we don't pick them normally.
Who'd you pick September? You remember that one?
We gave to, I think it was no, I don't think it was Curbside. Who did we give to in September? Mom does all that. I don't know.
Mom handles the books.
The real boss.
The real boss. She's the one that writes the checks. I'm Tyler Brown, and I own FHG Clothiers here in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Okay, are you from Bowling Green?
I've been here for a little over 20 years, so.
A little over 20 years, so that means...
I've been here elementary school and up, basically. So
you were born in
Somerset.
Okay. And so where'd you go to elementary school?
Natcher Elementary School. I actually live down the road from it now, so I guess that's probably where my daughter will start going, down the road.
You just had a baby, didn't you?
I did just have a baby.
Okay. And where'd you go to junior high?
I switched over. I went to Bowling Green.
Oh, okay. How'd you do that?
Well, my brother stayed in county, and I went switched over to Bowling Green because I was playing football at the time.
Oh, you didn't get kicked out and had to go to a different school?
No, I didn't get kicked out. Not yet at that point. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you went to, of course, to Bowling Green High?
I went to Bowling Green High. I was a purple.
So you're a purple. Okay.
Yep.
And then what'd you do after high school?
Went to Western.
Okay.
Straight out. And then did a program called the SMP program, which is a way to be in the National Guard and be in the RTC
program. What's it stand for? SMP?
Simultaneous Membership Program.
Good for you.
Yeah. It's a way to be in the National Guard and be in the RTC program at Western at the same time.
Okay. So, and you're still active, right?
Well, no, I'm still in the National Guard. I mean, I commissioned out of Western, got my my officer commission out of Western, and then stayed in the Guard now, and I've been in the Guard since 2009. Yeah, 2009.
So you've been in the Guard since 2009. Is that when you graduated from Western?
No, 2011.
Okay.
Yes, 2011.
And did you ever deploy in that time? As
soon as I got out of school in 2011, I left to go to a military school, like your officer course, basically, for about 6 months. Got back for about 4 months, and then deployed in January of 2013.
Okay.
And was gone for a year. And in between getting back in 2012 and about June, July timeframe, I got married in October and then left in January of that next year and was gone.
Where'd you meet your wife?
Facebook.
Really?
Well, she and I both went to Natcher Elementary School together. She stayed county, went to Greenwood, and I went to Bowling Green, obviously. And I saw her randomly one day at a Hot Rods game.
Okay.
And did the old Facebook.
You were a Facebook stalker.
And she was dumb enough to give me her number. And I got her number, asked her out, and then did that. And here we are now, 5 years later, married with a baby. So I guess
that's awesome.
Kind of Facebook worked out. So
it worked out for stalking. See, kids, if you
stalk, it pays off.
Okay, so where were you deployed? Back up to that.
My battalion was deployed to Jordan.
Okay.
And we were part of Operation Enduring Freedom, and we were training Jordanians because they're one of the allied nations of ours, and then taking those groups into Afghanistan, and they were then taking over security on the different bases and different things like that. Just a bunch of stuff.
So what were you kind of doing? Like, specifically, is there anything that you can mention that you did that you really liked about that?
Well, I was a platoon leader at the time, so you're the kind of first line officer that gets to hang out with the soldiers every day, and so that was always fun just because I'm around a bunch of guys that are obviously away from their families and trying to make the best of it and getting to joke around and do the normal stuff. So obviously there's that part, which obviously there's hardships and stuff, but to me I love just being around people and talking about them.
Being in Jordan, what was culture shock or something that you loved about Jordan that you kind of, what people here would dig that you think was kind of cool about it? Or
well, one thing that, I mean, obviously you can talk about different things, but one thing that people are always like, they can relate to is if you've ever seen Indiana Jones and
Yeah.
The Last Crusade.
Yeah.
When they go to where the Holy Grail's at, and there's like the big rock face.
Yeah.
And stuff. That's in Jordan.
Oh, is it?
That's Petra. It's a ancient city of Petra in Jordan, and it's a whole city built into the rocks. I could go and I was a history nerd, and that's what I did at
Well, go
Western.
for it.
I could
We're
go into
listening.
a long time, but anyway, there's the Nabateans, who are the original people that lived there. Anyway, it's this whole city built into rock, and so that big outside of the temple you saw in the Last Crusade is that.
You just spoiler alert. The Holy Grail's in there.
Yeah, I just spoiled it. I almost said the Holy Grail, but that's a totally different movie.
Yeah.
Which is a lot more humorous probably than the
Sure,
Last Crusade.
sure.
But it's disappointing though because you go inside that and it's just a big square block because they just used it, for stuff. There's not like temple rooms.
So there is no Holy Grail. in
There's
it.
no Holy Grail,
Okay.
and you don't have to go through all the different tests and like
That's
be the penitent man,
yeah.
penitent man, and all that stuff. Yeah, you don't have to do that.
So you don't have to throw sand on.
No, but I did ride a horse down part of that valley. So
Really?
yeah.
So
I'm
that
glad.
place actually exists,
actually exists,
and you
there's-
went there.
and there's a lot of it there. It's just not that.
Was there any food or anything you liked that was from there?
Yeah, there's a couple different things you do. Obviously, Americans, hummus is a big deal here, but obviously over there it's a lot
It's
bigger
a bigger
deal.
deal. Yeah.
And you can get, my favorite thing is taking beef or lamb or something, and it's cooked and then placed into hot hummus, and so you're basically dipping and eating not just hummus, but meat in there too, which is great. There's a thing called mansif, which is where you and a bunch of other dudes stood around a table that is got meat in the middle and then a big bed of rice and then meat on top, and then they pour this hot yogurt type thing over it, and you all stand around in a circle and you eat it with your hands, and that's kind of like how you bond with your Jordanian counterparts. And that was for a guy that's very germaphobe, clean freak like
about
me.
to say,
It's
yeah.
a little, you just take your own little part of the pie and just eat out of your little area, and when they hand you stuff, you just try to be nice.
Well, you were talking about hummus and the food there and everything, and that kind of leads me into, and we'll get to stuff about your business, but you're also a big Disney fan.
I am a big Disney fan.
Going to Sanaa, which is one of my favorite restaurants.
Yes.
I'm giving them a little plug on the food there. Tell us about, how did you become a Disney fan? Is it mainly because of your wife, or is it because of you?
Always have. I'm a little bit of a nerd, and when I say that, that's definitely not the case because it's a whole lot of nerd in this guy.
Yeah.
So Disney's always been, I've always grown up with Disney movies, obviously, and everything. And even my college roommates and I, even in college, being grown men, love a lot of Disney and would try to impress the girls singing Disney songs. And knowing
Really?
that,
You want to show us?
no, I'm not. I was a backup dancer.
Okay,
I'm not
okay,
the singer.
okay.
My roommate, he was the singer.
What was the go-to song?
A Whole New World.
Wow.
Yeah, impressive. We
Little foreshadowing of where you'd be deployed, too.
Yeah, see, look at that. So that and boy band songs, that was just kind of the go-to. But Disney's always been kind of a big part. And then once Disney was able to get the ownership of Marvel, obviously that changed a
Yeah.
lot. And Star Wars, because those are two things that have always been big parts of my life. Captain America and anything Star Wars have pretty much been my existence for a long time.
Okay, now let's get back into kind of the work mode.
Yes.
Did you have a job when you were in high school or anything like that?
I did have a job. I actually worked at E.W. James, my very first job. That used to be right down here where BAC is now. I was a grocery store clerk, bagging groceries. And
I did not know what E.W.
Carrying-
James was. What
carrying
is
out
that?
stuff for. It's a grocery store. It's
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Carrying out bags for ladies and trying to just. I was a chubby kid in high school, working at a grocery store. But then I've always worked for my dad, who worked for another clothing company before we left and started this on our own. And I always worked for him too in his office, kind of being the guy that got garments out of bags and fixed them up and did different things. So
Okay, so you've always been, because let's talk about how you guys formed this. How did we decide to create FHG Clothiers, which stands for?
for his glory.
How did you guys create the company? Because, what is this now, 3 years old?
Well, the store itself is 3 years old. Us as an entity have been around since I got back from my deployment. So I was deployed in 2013, and there at the end of my tail end of my deployment, this kind of came about. So really, the last part of 2013 till now. But until we opened the store here in Bowling Green, the showroom, it was just a classic going to see guys in their office, referral based, word of mouth, cold calls, whatever. Going to see men in their office, traveling all over the state, different things like that. But then we kind of had to branch out a little bit because we want to have an essence here in Bowling Green, but also kind of have a home base. So the store's about 2 years old, and then FHG itself's about, what, math-wise, 5 years?
Yeah, sounds right.
So,
but how did that come about? How did you decide, okay, I've been carrying guns, training men for defending the homeland and to be in war, to, hey, I want to outfit you guys in these nice suits.
Yeah, it's a little different uniform.
Yeah, it's a pivot.
Well, again, I've always been around this with Dad, and when he started this endeavor, we kind of saw the potential of what it could be in town. And I've always loved that kind of classic Mad Men is the best way for probably modern people to understand, but that kind of Mad Men-esque look where guys always wore their hats and everybody was dressed up, and that kind of classic American look. And I felt like we got away from that a little bit, and so when he started coming up with this entity that we're going to kind of do our own thing, I was like, well, we could kind of develop that old school tailor shop, comfortable place for men to go and shop kind of thing in town. And that's really what intrigued me about it. Again, the history side of things, kind of going back to where men like to, you either go talk to your barber, or you hang out with a couple buddies, getting drinks after work, or you would see your tailor. Like those are kind of the three guys that men would go see, in kind of that business-esque type environment, I guess, if you want to look at it like that.
And you guys are a tailor. You could come in here, you're going to get a custom suit if you want it.
If you want it, we do the full custom tailored where it starts as a piece of fabric on a table and it's cut, made to measure for you. And so, if there's only a certain run of fabric, then there can only be a certain amount of suits or shirts, whatever, made from this run of fabric, and then after that, it's gone forever. So we do that, but then also we know not everybody needs that or wants to, go through that process. So that's why we have kind of the off-the-rack normal stuff you'd get in a normal store. Mm-hmm. Your 42 regulars.
Well, and you train guys to understand over in the military side. How did you train yourself to be able to be? I understand you grew up in it, but there has to be a little bit of also training yourself to understand men's fashion and how everything works. What did you do to kind of...
Well, obviously Dad's been doing this for over 20 years.
So being his apprentice helps.
The apprentice side of it. As much as, my dad talks to me, and, obviously there goes with working with your dad, there's always a little bit of not wanting to listen to him because he's your dad. But he's very knowledgeable and he knows a lot of stuff.
How long has he been doing it? He's been doing it for ages.
Well, the company he worked with before he left to come to this was going on 20 years. I think it was really like 18 or 19 years before we started this. But even when he was in high school, when he was playing football over in Callaway County and Mary and stuff, him and all his buddies that played football were in the local ads and were working in the local men's store. And he's been doing it since then. And in college, the same thing he did. And then...
So he's grown up in it as well.
Yeah.
So both of you grew up in men's...
A little bit, yeah. And then his apprenticeship, and then all his buddies that he's known over the years of him gaining that knowledge and working, we work alongside some of them too, or we still in contact with them or see them a couple times a year. And so even having them talk to me or, give some guidance. But then just research. I mean, there's getting online and obviously Googling stuff, magazines, movies, all that stuff.
And you go to conferences where you...
Yeah, and we go to, the shows. We go to Chicago twice a year, and that's kind of our market. But then while we're at market, there's some training sessions that happen with the people we work through for custom and stuff like that. So, there's ways to do it.
When I worked in Lexington, it was very khaki and blazer. Mm-hmm. When I worked in Nashville, it was very blazer, button-up shirt, jeans, and a nice pair of shoes. Mm-hmm. Men's fashion changes from place to place. Let's stand up and look really quick. You have like suits over here, but then most everything in here is polo, pullover. Yeah, you got the mizzen and main over here.
Yeah, your sports shirt, your kind of casual everyday stuff. Because again, guys nowadays don't. When they dress up, even like when I'm wearing a suit, still a lot of times when I'm seeing clients, I'm not wearing a tie. That's just the way it is nowadays.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What is Bowling Green's style? You got guys who do wear suits every day.
You do, and that's.
But the majority's not.
And if you do wear suits, more power to you, and I love it. I still love suits and suspenders and all that stuff. But Bowling Green's a good reflection of Nashville in a lot of ways, because obviously we have a lot of people that work in Nashville. Kind of our influence though kind of comes up. We're closer to Nashville obviously than Louisville. But still, just men's fashion, we're all about being comfortable now. Women have had stretchy and comfortable stuff forever, and now guys are starting to get all that stuff. Jeans that are like really stretchy and things like that. But really, jeans, a cool shirt, and a cool sport coat. That is probably the main thing that most guys are going to wear.
I mean, that's as dressy as most people get. Because I remember, not to put myself in this, but when I moved here and I wore a suit out to the first meeting, someone literally asked me if I was going to a funeral.
Right.
I mean, it's very rare to find people that wear suits around town.
And that's, I mean, you still have some professions that are, still got your constant, are in suits, but that's still just a rarity nowadays. So, but sport coats, cool sport coats that fit good, look good, and then comfortable jeans that you can wear every day. That's kind of the main thing it seems like guys are doing.
And you guys are always changing how this place looks a little bit. But
what's changing in men's fashion right now? What's kind of the new trend as of October of 2017?
Again, that comfortability, if that's a word, that is a word. Just kind of the ability to be active, but then still have that business look, I guess, would be a good thing.
Is that the mizzen and main?
A good example of that.
Let's show them what we're talking about there.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's a dress shirt if you want to look at it like in that sense, but it's got and they're American made, which is a rarity nowadays. So that's great too. They do a lot of stuff with veterans organizations and stuff like that. But they've got all this stretch to them. They snap back. They don't wrinkle. You wash them at the house. They dry in 14 minutes. Like my daughter drooled all over me the other day, and in like 2 minutes.
I've noticed that too.
Dry.
A lot of the stuff now that's menswear, you don't dry clean it as much as you used to.
I mean, even my like custom shirts for our tailored shirts that we do, I probably will wear it 3 or 4 times unless I just like sweat through it or do something terrible to it before I ever take it to the cleaners.
Okay.
Just because the way everything's made now and having the ability to do stuff like that, you can get by that with that stuff. But just that everything being a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more active. Same thing with the pants. These Jack of Spade jeans we use, which are so great. They got all this stretch, performance kind of dress pants. I mean, all kinds of things. But that's probably the way it's going. You're getting a little bit of guys going back to wider lapels, and it's always been kind of the last couple of years that real narrow, modern European look. But everything's going back. It's still going that direction, but you're still seeing a little bit of guys still widening lapels like it used to be back in the day a little bit.
Like, are you talking 70s type
no,
lapels?
not like laid out like
okay.
here.
Yeah, like
but no, because now it's been like super narrow, and now they're
Do you
just
have an
adding-
example in here of like where we're going?
Probably not of where
It's going, but where
we're
it's
going,
been.
but like this is where it's been. It's a little narrower lapel. Suits probably used to be, they're 3.5 to 4, and this is about a 2.5 lapel.
Okay.
It's a little trimmer. This is one of mine, a little trimmer look that I did for myself. But they're kind of going back to that in between then, back to a little wider but not crazy.
And what about patterns and colors? What's kind of the new thing you guys are going to see for like 2018, even going forward?
Well, a lot of fabrics we've seen there coming is, and something I really like doing is the fact of doing a solid shirt, but a patterned solid shirt. So a white shirt that I've got some examples in the back I could bring out, but a white shirt that has a little bit of pattern to it, and I say that, but I can do it right here. A white shirt that has a little bit of pattern to it.
All right, cool. Let's move this.
Yep. So these are white shirts, but you can tell there's a little bit of pattern in them.
Hold on a minute. Okay, hopefully they can see that, but I think they can.
So a solid shirt, got a little bit of pattern in it, putting colored buttons on it, so putting like a blue button on it and a blue buttonhole on the shirt. So it's still a solid and it's cool, but then wearing it with a really, really bold pattern sport coat.
Okay.
Because most guys are like, man, this sport coat looks really cool, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to wear with it because it's so wild of a pattern. So the way you fix that is you do a solid shirt, and then you can wear whatever you want with it, really, because it's solid.
Okay, that's cool.
I really like doing that stuff to myself. Window panes. I mean, this is a pink window pane. It's not too hard to match stuff up with, but even there, just doing a solid shirt.
I mean, you even did one where you did a pirate in the inside.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing is
Jolly
that
Roger, skull and crossbones.
everyone's kind of being unique on their outfit, on what they're going to wear and everything like that. So, all right.
Yep.
So what else is going on here that people need to be on the lookout? Because you guys, that's the other thing I was going to touch on. You guys, you do adapt with the times. I mean, it's traditional. Everything's traditional with menswear, but you guys are also hitting the online stuff with the man box.
Yeah, we have a man box program, and it's our way to keep guys from going in the store because we.
How'd you come up with that?
Well, we kind of looked at. Dad puts it a good way. He goes, we've always helped men in business attire, but when men aren't wearing as dressy things like the custom things in business as much anymore, so we knew that guys are going to go somewhere else to get clothing. So why not we help them in that aspect too. And so that's part of the reason the store's here. But then the box program came about because not every guy can get by here. You know, when we close,
Sure.
they're going home because their first thought when they get off work after being there for however long is not to go shopping. It's to go home and hang out with the kids or whatever. And so the box program is a way for us to kind of help a guy out. We put a couple outfits in there, socks, whatever. I mean, a guy could tell me he wants all socks and jeans or whatever. And after I kind of narrow in what a guy wants, I put it in all a box. And I ship it all over the state and then to Tennessee. Kentucky and Tennessee is what we service right now with it. But mainly guys here in town in Bowling Green, I drop it off at their house, I drop it off at their office, and then they text me 5 days later and say, hey, it's ready to be picked up. I swing by and pick it up. I come back here, I look through it and see that you kept this amount of stuff, you know, a pair of jeans and a polo. I just charge the card I got on file for you.
So it's same day? Same day you dropped off the box, or does it take a couple days?
Well, no, I mean, you keep it, there's a return.
No, I'm saying you. If I call you, say, hey, I want a
Oh,
box.
I could. I mean, obviously, if I had the time, I could. But you can sign up online for it, or you can call me, or you can come in here, and we can kind of figure out your sizing first.
Okay.
And then once that happens, I put you on a rotation because it happens twice a year. I do a spring box, and I do a
Okay.
fall box,
Oh, okay.
and then I do upon request because I don't want to wear guys out, and also I know men don't want to just get clothes all the time. But I had a guy, like, he was going on vacation to Colorado with his family, and this cool brand we use is kind of like a Columbia, Patagonia kind of brand.
Okay.
Outdoor brand. Except for I think a lot better. Price
Which
point's
one?
A lot better. Cool. You can see, you know, they got some flannels and for the fall,
Yeah.
some jackets and good pants and vest and all stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was going to Colorado with his family, and I made a special box for him of just this stuff
Okay.
before he left on his trip.
Yeah, so like, you know, come spring break, someone's going on a cruise to the Caribbean.
Right. We can get some
Tyler
stuff.
can bring by a box that
Yep.
you don't even have to pack.
Yeah. So I'll make it just ready to go. And I don't know if you can take it with you, but the whole box, but we can figure it out. So, you know, I do that. But other than fall and spring, I don't want to wear guys out, so I can do request night. But it's just a way to keep guys from coming in here. Wives like it, girlfriends like it, moms get stuff for sons, because it's just a way to shop without having to go to the store.
And since this is coming out in October, should be middle of October when this comes out, we'll still be on just the start of Christmas shopping season.
Correct.
So what if I'm a man, a lady who wants to buy something for a family member or a friend or anything like that? How would you go about coming in and picking the right thing, or how would you suggest people come in and buy gifts?
Obviously, know a little bit about the sizing before you come in here on a guy.
Sure.
But unfortunately, every company is going to fit a little different on a guy. So obviously, if you get something that's a little smaller or whatever, we'll replace it. We'll switch it out. But that's why obviously gift cards are such a big deal for
Yep.
us, because
Mm-hmm.
we found that even though guys don't like to come shopping, when they have the chance to come shopping and they know they're not necessarily spending all their money, it's a gift from somebody else, they have a little bit more willing to come in here. But then also that allows me to get their sizing where it needs to be. You know, because we do alterations and we alter stuff as best we can to fit somebody. But there's only so much you can do without seeing the person themselves. So definitely either know what your person's looking for beforehand, or the gift card route's always a good route. But also the box is a good route. I can get people that, I had a mom that did boxes for all her sons for Christmas last year, and she basically gave me her credit card, and I made boxes for them. And then when Christmas was over, I collected the boxes back, and whatever they kept, I charged her card for what they kept, basically. So
Nice, Mom.
yeah, so
That's a great gift.
so it's kind of easier to do that. I didn't have to worry about it. But you know, there's a lot of different ways to get that stuff going.
All right. Star Wars, Thor Ragnarok, or Black Panther. Which one are you most excited to see this year? I'm going to do
Considering
that.
Captain America doesn't show up in any Marvel movie of the ones you listed, then it's going to be Star Wars for sure. But
How?
what?
You're not excited about Black Panther or
No,
Thor?
Black Panther more than Thor. Because I love Black Panther's story, and I love who he is and what he stands for. And I
And
just have always liked his-
Michael B. Jordan looks like he might be the best villain.
Yes, because Marvel struggles sometimes with villains to make them actual villains that you want to get beat. Sometimes you don't really care what happens to them. But they've gotten a little better every time, making their villains a little bit more villainy. I guess that's the word for it. But
And since you said Star Wars, is this the Gray Jedi that we've heard about?
I don't want to throw anything out there because it's probably going to be wrong. 'Cause
You know, we've got so many people stop watching right now that we're geeking on this.
I know. I know.
That's all right. And then last one, just to get everyone back in it. Best ride at Disney World, all 4 parks.
Oh, golly. See, I've only been once as like an adult that remembers things.
But you're going in January
with the wife for an anniversary present. And so I don't know what to tell you. I like eating food more than I do riding rides. So
Really? Okay.
yeah, if you didn't know.
Okay.
So,
What's the one you remember though that you loved as a kid?
well, it's not even there anymore. But they used to have the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea thing where you used to snorkel. With the,
Disneyland still does though.
Do they really?
It's called Finding Nemo and Friends, but
Oh, that was
the
what
boss is here, so we're gonna end the video there, and we'll get him a video soon.
You're talking to the boss.
Yeah,
I'm just an employee.
yeah. That's my dad. He works for me.
Thanks, Tyler.
Employee.